All of you, good afternoon. So this session for MPCS, MSTCS and MSTDS partial students. Subject is programming in C. Okay. So in the today's session we'll see the one more new concept, that is, suppose here integer a of 5. Suppose we'll see the one demonstration program. So by that we come to know integer a is equal to 5. Then at the same time, okay. So just declare integer a of 5. See what is happening in this case. Here just have declared integer a of 5. It means now it creates the memory with 5 blocks like this, and it allocates the addresses or indexes values are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, but here what I have declared? I have declared here a of 5. The meaning of that, the memory for 5 values. But here I am storing 3 values. But already in the arrays we said one drawback. What is the drawback? If you store the 1 value or 2 values or 3 values or 4 or 5, means if you store all the values in this memory block, or if you store less than of that, but in both the cases it is going to take the 5 values memory only. It means I declare integer. It means what is the memory it is going to have? Integer means 2 bytes. It means 2 bytes. Now 2 into 5 is nothing but 10 bytes. See, it means if you store a single value, but it is going to occupy 10 bytes. If you store 2 values, it is going to occupy 10. So like that, if you may store all the values, it takes 10 only. If you store less than of that, and also it is going to 10 bytes. See, it means what is this drawback? This drawback is memory wastage. Memory wastage. Already we discussed it while discussion of arrays. The drawback of array is that memory wastage. What is the meaning of that memory wastage? After declaration of the memory, if you store the full of array or less than of array, but is going to take the full memory. That is the drawback. That is nothing but memory wastage. What is the solution for this? The solution is dynamic memory. So today's topic is now dynamic memory. See, but so I think you got the clarity. What is that? Whenever there is a problem like this, you use the concept of dynamic memory allocation. By that you can overcome this. At that time, how many number of values you are going to store? Only that many number of values memory will be occupied. Suppose if you are storing here one value, it is going to take only 2 bytes. If you are storing 2 values, it is going to take 4 bytes. Like that, so there is no memory wastage. There is a concept of dynamic memory allocation. The definition says that, okay, when an array is declared, its size has to be given as constant number and it cannot be changed in the middle of the program. So it is the meaning of that. So here in the above declaration or in the declaration, so array is defined with 5 elements and occupies here 10 bytes of memory. We may utilize all this memory or may not. If you want to store 30 numbers in the above array which is behind the size of array, that is array overflows. It means Suppose here I like to store 10 values or 15 values, it will be overflow. Why? Because it is allocated with 5 only. See, it means if you store less than of that, the memory will be wasted. If you want to store more than of that, it will be overflow will be there. See, two drawbacks. So for that, we have to use the concept of dynamic memory allocation. What is the dynamic memory allocation definition? Allocation of memory to a variable at runtime on demand according to the requirements of programmer is known as dynamic memory allocation or runtime memory allocation. In the examination, they will ask you like that. Okay? What is the question they will ask? What is dynamic memory allocation or what is runtime memory allocation? Okay? So for this, we are going to use the two things. One is malloc. The second one is the free. These two are the other functions. Malloc is a function which is used to allocate the memory at runtime. Free is a function which is used to release the memory after usage of the array. Here it is not possible to do it, but here after usage of the array, suppose if you declare the array with 1000 values. Now after some time the values becomes useless to you or it is waste of you. What you will do? You have to delete that array. So but in the normal method it is not possible. But by using the function of free, so you can delete the memory automatically. So that is the concept of malloc. So malloc definition says that this function is declared in the header file malloc.h. It allocates a block of memory to the program of size number of bytes and returns the address of first byte in that block. This address can be stored in a pointer variable and which can be used to access the block of memory. This function returns a pointer of type void which has 2-bit type casted into the desired type. So if enough memory is not available, then malloc returns a null pointer which contains 0. Null is a macro defined in std.h whose value is 0. Everyone is okay? So for this you have to use the two functions. What is simple definition that you have to remember? Allocation of memory to a variable at runtime and demand according to the requirements of programmer is known as dynamic memory allocation or runtime memory allocation. Everyone is okay now? Now we'll see the program on this. That is dynamic memory allocation. Everyone okay? Now we have to use the hash So in this case, you have to remember the another header file that is include malloc.h. Why? Because this function is defined in the header file malloc.h. Okay. Then integer, you have declare one pointer variable. Then how many number of variables you want like that. So see star p comma n comma I. So already I said that we have to use the pointer variables. What is the pointers means already we discussed in the last sessions. So in the pointers when we discussed it, we can allocate the memory at runtime to the array. So that feature we are using here. So for that I am using one pointer variable, the n variable and I variable. Now so just I am asking, please input how many values you want. It's clear. Now I am going to read it. Now I am saying that, so we don't know how many number of values the user need. So for that, first of all I am asking, please input how many number of values you want. Just I am taking the values scan a percent n. It means in the n variable I am taking for how many number of values memory you want. Okay. Now P is equal to, you have to allocate the memory like that, integer star. So now we have to use the function that is value. Okay, just use the function value, and that we don't know the memory for that. For that, to know the size of that variable, size of. So what is the size of? It is going to return how many number of bytes you are going to use for the data type. Suppose I am using integer. Okay, why? Because here I have declared integer. For that we know that 2 bytes. Suppose it is a unsigned integer or long integer. At that time, every time you have to remember that the bytes. But when you remember one function that is size of, is a single word, size of. Right, combined size of integer. Now the function itself, size of, first knows the memory for the data type. So size of it means there is nothing but 2 bytes like it. Now you have to allocate the memory based on that. Suppose 2 into n. See, 2 into n. So by that is, suppose for 5 values the memory 2 into 5 10. Here size of it is 2. N returns how many number of values you have, that is 2 into 5 10. I am going to allocate the memory for 10 bytes. Okay, then after it is a data type of integer. Okay, then I am storing it to the P. What is the P here? It is a pointer variable. So this is a pointer variable. It holds the address of another variable. So for which variable address it is going to store? So in this case, I am allocating the memory of that. Then I am taking the address into this. Everyone is okay. So now printf. So now we have to input the numbers. We don't know how many number of values is going to input. So for that you have to write printf, please input numbers is equal to percentage d, comma, I am taking n. See, what is the meaning of this? You don't know that here how many number of values the user has inputted. Suppose if I inputted 5, here it allocates the memory for 5 bytes. Then after it is asking the user, please input numbers, that is n. What is that n? It is nothing but 5. It will ask you that 5 values like that. Okay. Now we have used the for loop. For I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. In this you have to take scanf, percentage d, ampersand. So for which thing it has to be inputted now? What is the array variable here? There is nothing but the pointer variable now. This p. So you have to take p of I. That is the concept. See, where I am going to input the values into the pointer variable. That is the pointer variable here, p. For which variable I am having the memory? For p only. Now where I have to input the values to p only. So for that I am writing scanf, percentage, ampersand p of I. Okay. Now whatever the values is given, now you have to input. Is right or not? So for that, printf given values R. First I am taking for I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. Then you have to take the option printf percentage d backslash n, then p of I. See what I am saying? Whatever the value is there, I am going to print that. It means just I am inputting, then I am outputting the given values. Then after I am going to release the memory object. Here free. Here variable will be the p. The point variable is p. No. Now again we are trying to print the values. What happens? Print it after erasing memory. I am trying to print that for I is equal to 0. See what I am trying to print here? Just I am trying to print the values of the output. But is it possible? We will see. When I execute this program, what will the output? We will see. Output. So here, first we will ask you, please input how many values. Please input how many values. Then suppose I am inputting here 5, enter. So then that 5 will be stored here. Then a p is equal to integer size of int, that is nothing but 2 into n is 5. 2 into n, here 2 into n means 5, that is 10, and here is the memory for 10 bytes, and it is a type of integer, and it will be stored into the p. Then print a, please input numbers. Now we'll ask like this, please input numbers is equal to 5. The meaning of that, whatever the value inputted here, that is going to ask here. Why? Because so if the program is lengthy, we don't know how many number of values the user is given. For that, just I am given the same number here. Then suppose I am inputting here 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and so. Now after inputting these values, then again it will give the output like this, given values. That is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. After that, what I am saying? Free P. It means I am deleting the memory, whatever you allocated. Then I will get after erasing memory. So nothing will give you. Why? Because there is no data inside of it. So it is about the concept of dynamic memory allocation. Everyone is clear now? What is this concept? Whenever you don't know how many number of values of memory you are going to store, at that time when it is the concept of dynamic memory allocation. Everyone is clear now? Now the next concept is functions. Then what is the use of this functions? We'll see. Okay. So what exactly the concept of function? Suppose we see there is a program wide main. It's a program of suppose 10,000 lines. What I am saying here? Just written one program of 10,000 lines. So whatever the program used by using the concept of arrays and loops and everything. Is it right or not? But after writing the program, we'll see the things, what happens. Here, according to the first rule, here the program size becomes very large. Is it right or not? 10,000 lines means the program size will be the very large. Is it right or not? At that time, here, whenever you get any mistake, whenever you get any error inside of the program, the total program gets stuck. Gets stuck. Is it right or not? If you get a problem in a single line, and also the total 10,000 lines program will get stuck. Is it right or not? So, then after that, the size of the program is also large. The size of the program is also large. Okay. So then after debugging a program is quite slow. The next part with the debugging a program is quite slow. So because of 10,000 lines, so if you get any error, so to rectify it and to control it, the debugging of program becomes quite slow. Why? Because every time you have to go through that all the lines. Is it right or not? It means if you get any problem inside of that, what you will do? So you have to go through the total program. Then finally debugging becomes slow. Even we are going to lose the concentration. We are going to lose the concentration on the program. Why? Because here when the program size is heavy, at that time by having this many number of lines to focusing on that particular things, it becomes by that you are going to lose the concentration on the program. See. So here this is a problem, and at the same time when you are developing a program, at that time it may have the different things. See, what are the different things in cases? See, the program will have the input, then after logic, then after the output. In logic, different modules will be there. See, it means suppose if you are going for a arithmetic addition, suppose subtraction, multiplication, division, and okay, like that. Suppose you are developing a program for some addition, okay, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, like that. See, it means the logic itself is having the 4 problems inside of that. Then after input, then output. See, it's having different parts. But here when you are developing a program, you are going to write the total program is single thing. Suppose if I develop a program like this here, suppose this is a simple program C. So when I am taking a program like already written in the beginning classes, that is I am taking two values, I am calculating for some difference between quotient remainder and so on. It means the input, it has the input, it has a logic of 5 values. Is it right or not? So how many logics you have for this? So for this you have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, even if you are interested, not interested, it is going to output compulsory 5 outputs. See, but in some case I want only sum, in some case I want difference, in some case I want product, like this. See, but it's a problem of here 5 problems and the input will be 1, output will be 5. See. But in this case, whenever I execute this program, the total program gets executed and you get the output for all the things. Is it right or not? See. So here, this is the problem with this. Okay. So to overcome that, they designed the concept is functions. What is the solution for that? The solution is the functions. What is the functions? So, in the place of writing the whole code in a single process, okay, single body, we are splitting that into number of bodies or number of parts, and every part is said to be a module or it is nothing but a function. See, what is a function? In the place of writing the total program in a single block, we are going to divide that into number of blocks. Every block is said to be one module or one function, like it. Okay, so by that what happens? The program becomes here, size will be becomes less. Then total programs here it cannot be stuck. It means here in this case the program becomes independent. It means every function becomes independent. So if you have any function is having a problem, you can leave that function or you can leave that block and you can execute the remaining. Suppose it means the total program 10,000 lines will have some 100 blocks. It is nothing but functions, or we can say module also. So what we divided? We divided the 10,000 lines program into 100 blocks. At that time, what happened means the program size becomes small. How? Here, when there is a repeated things are there, then the function itself which says that it is a reusable block. It's clear. Whatever the code you write, suppose you write one block inside of this block can be used any number of times without recoding the same line. It's okay. So for that we can say the program becomes small. Then the total program will not be get. Suppose we have a problem with one block, it means you can leave that block, and you can work with 199 blocks. See, by that every block becomes, or every function becomes independent. So we got the clarity. So the size of the program is also becomes small. Then debug the program. It means here which block have the problem, only that block you have to rectify. Remaining will not be disturbed. But in this case, if you disturb anyone, the remaining also affected. Then losing the concentration at the time. So it has a total program of 10,000 lines, but in this case it will have 100 blocks. Is it right or not? So by that, which block has a problem, you have to focus on that block, and you can leave the remaining blocks. By that, so the function becomes very useful to the user or programmer. So most of the cases we develop the programs by using functions. We'll see what exactly the functions, then how to write the programs by using functions in the next session. Okay? Right, thank you.